Ethnically mixed wrestlers. What's up, people? RantNRavinFection, and how you doing? This topic is gonna be about racially mixed wrestlers. Not just, ethnically mixed people in general, but specifically about pro wrestlers who are basically mixed of two different ethnicities. Give you an example, The Rock. He's half Samoan, half black. When it comes to The Rock, he's a very unique person. This may be part of the reason why they made him so huge in the WWE. He had this look to him where you didn't really know exactly what his ethnicity, quote-unquote, is. Is he black? You know what I mean? If he's black, then why does he look so, how come he doesn't look like Wesley Snipes? You know what I mean? How come he's not that black? Or, is he part, Polynesian, is he part Hawaiian or something? Who knows, right? So that's the thing with The Rock, I've heard of some people call The Rock, some people have thought The Rock was just a dark-skinned white guy. I was like, what? You know what I mean? That's crazy because, that's the thing about The Rock, his racially mixed look makes him look unique, and he doesn't fit a single stereotype, so that he becomes, at least in our society, and it's funny because in America, when somebody's ethnically mixed, it's like they become more acceptable in certain ways, especially in the media, where it's like mixed people are beautiful, but in a sort of an exotic, sort of mysterious way, you know what I mean? You don't know what their ethnicity is, is he, is he this, is he that? So it gets people to be more curious about a particular person, as opposed to like, I really doubt it, and I am not being a racist in any single way, but I swear to God, if The Rock was 100% black or 100% African American, he probably would never have been WWE champion. They probably would have never made him that way, because to this day the WWE and Vince McMahon has never chosen a 100% black wrestler to become WWE champion. I think it's just for whatever reason, you know what I mean? Whatever it is, business reasons, his personal bias, if he does have a bias. He is an old guy. He grew up in that era where people were more racist, quote-unquote. And maybe just for business reasons, just because he doesn't want, he's afraid. He's afraid. It's not that he doesn't want to. He's more afraid of the reaction of some fans that might be turned off by the fact that his champion now in the WWE is an African American, is a black guy. So that could be a reason. That's just a theory, but for whatever reason, they've never made somebody 100% black become a champion. And it's funny because some black people don't feel like The Rock is, they don't really consider The Rock, not one of them, like not excluding The Rock totally, but it's like, we're still waiting, and it's not just the fans, it's like the WWE themselves. Like I was reading a WWE magazine, and it said, this was back when Bobby Lashley was still in the company, and one of the captions said, Bobby Lashley, and then beside it said, Bobby Lashley, future, first ever black WWE champion, like that's a question mark. Like, could he be the next? Could he be the very first black WWE champion? And I'm like, well, what about The Rock? Aren't you gonna count The Rock? He's half. And I think that's the overall feeling in America, and I guess even all over the world, where most people feel like The Rock is like a mixed guy. He doesn't belong totally to the Samoan culture, and he doesn't belong totally to the black culture. He's a mix, so he's more. It's a double-edged sword, because on the positive side, here you have For me, it's like it had to take somebody who was mixed of these two cultures to sort of make a champion. I know that they made Yokozuna, who is the very first Samoan WWE champion, but let's face it, you know, everybody thought Yokozuna was Japanese because that was his gimmick. He had a Japanese sort of sumo wrestler gimmick, even though he was hailed from like Polynesia or something like that. But most people thought that he was a Japanese wrestler of ethnically Japanese. His manager was Japanese, and he came out in his like Japanese music, and he was a sumo wrestler gimmick. And so, you know, I mean, I thought Yokozuna was Japanese, you know, in the beginning, and you know, I'm freaking Asian, you know, so even I was fooled, you know what I mean? I didn't know he was Samoan until I read about it later on. So it's kind of crazy, you know what I mean? It's like, wow, that's, you know, the WWE, they're really particular when it comes to ethnicity. And speaking of Asians, and me being an Asian person myself, you know, I'm still waiting for an Asian champion in the WWE. Will it ever happen? Who knows? You know, there's a better chance of a black champion in the WWE than there is an Asian champion. That's just the truth. I mean, I'll give you an example. I think it was Antonio Inoki back in Japan. He ended up winning in a controversial way. He won the WWE Championship, but I think it was against Bob Backlund, I think. But they never counted it because, for whatever reason, it was just, they did not count it. I think it's because it was just so, the way he won it, it was probably just because, I don't know, for whatever reason, they just don't count it. You know, maybe it was because of the fact that he was Asian, he was Japanese, and maybe Vince, you know, once again, very reluctant to put it in somebody who is of Japanese descent. You know, I mean, it doesn't take a genius to look at the roster today, and all we see is Funaki, who has a freaking Asian stereotype kung fu gimmick, just to know that, you know, Vince he's not crazy about Asian wrestlers, or people with an Asian look, or, you know, a Japanese, Korean, Chinese, whatever. He's not too crazy about it, for whatever reason. You know, maybe he's racist, or maybe he just, once again, he's afraid to make somebody of a minority, I guess, in America, somebody who isn't white or Caucasian. And I was gonna get into Batista. You know, Batista is half Filipino, half Greek, which is great, you know, fine. He's ethnically mixed, and there's nothing wrong with that. Make him the champion. And then finally, you know, getting a lot of Filipino fans, finally, you know, it's like, wow, you know, they finally went to the Philippines to do shows because of Batista's popularity, the fact that he's part Filipino, and so he's got a lot of Filipino fans. But for me, it's more like, you know, once again, he's mixed, you know, he's not 100% this, he's not 100% Greek, he's not 100% Filipino, so it's easier to make him a champion because of his look. He's got that ethnically mixed look, you don't know what he is. As a matter of fact, Batista, you know, and I am Filipino. I'm from the frickin' Philippines, as you can see in my channel. As a Filipino, I still look at Batista as sort of this mixed guy. He's not, I don't see him as 100% one of us. I'm proud that he's proud of being Filipino, but at the same time, it's like, wow, you know, he's still, you know, I didn't even know he was Filipino at first, you know what I mean? I had no clue. You know, I wouldn't have guessed it. When I found out later that he was Filipino, I was like, wow, that's crazy. But it's like, now I see it, you know, now I can see it. But, you know, most people don't think that Batista's half Asian. He's half Filipino, you know. He's more, he looks more Italian or something like that, you know. He's like this, he looks more Caucasian. It's an, you know, that's just, and once again, being that mixed look, and just being more white, looking more white as opposed to more Asian, Batista has gotten a bigger push.